नॉर्मल इंसान 2-4 पराठे खाता है, मैं 12 खा रहा हूँ. फ्रॉम आवर एंसेस्ट आवर लाइक ओल्डर जनरेशन टेलिंग अस, नहीं नहीं खा बेटा खा तू और खा. इमीडिएटली व्हेन यू फील एंग्शियस और स्ट्रेस्ड इट इम्पैक्ट्स योर डाइजेशन इमीडिएटली. हम क्या करते हैं, हम फैट खाते रहते हैं. पहले के टाइम पे ऐसा नहीं होता था. पहले के टाइम पे अगर आपने एक हाई फैट मील खा ली है, आपकी बॉडी को टाइम है उसको डाइजेस्ट करने को ना. 10 रुपए के लेस के चिप्स में कितनी कैलोरीज है, 300-400 कैलोरी हो जाती है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट एन एनिमल राइट्स इशू, इट्स एक्चुअली अ फेमिनिज्म इशू एज वेल.
They have the capability to reproduce. They're abused like this.
The saturated fat content and cholesterol content is very high in animal foods. Why is protein the only question? Why isn't every nutrient of equal concern? Why is the world crazy about protein, I wonder?
So वरुण, स्वागत है आपका हमारे शो पर. तो हम यहाँ पर बात करते हैं मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में. एंड यू हैव बिन पैशनेटली एक्सप्लोरिंग गट ब्रेन कनेक्शन एंड आई हैव बिन रियली फैसिनेटेड बाय योर वर्क. यू आर अ शेफ, अ प्लांट बेस्ड न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट. सो अभी आप हमें अपनी जर्नी के बारे में बताएं. हाउ यू शिफ्टेड टू प्लांट बेस्ड लाइफस्टाइल एंड हाउ इट हेल्प्ड यू इन योर जर्नी.
ये तो बहुत ही पर्सनल एक जर्नी है. इट बिगैन विद बिंज ईटिंग डिसऑर्डर. आई वाज डायग्नोस्ड बुलिमिक. तो एक ईटिंग डिसऑर्डर है जो कि इंडिया में ज़्यादा रिकग्नाइज नहीं है, बट 11 years ago आई गॉट माई डायग्नोसिस लकीली. And things started to go in a positive direction after the diagnosis because I started taking psychiatric medication. But then I asked my psychiatrist कि क्या है strategy, like I'm feeling much like better in terms of my eating patterns. So I'll tell you what, like normal इंसान 2-4 पराठे खाता है, मैं 12 खा रहा था.
Oh God.
तो मुझे उल्टी जब तक नहीं आ जाए या फिर ओवरफुल ना हो जाऊं तब तक खाने की कंपल्शन रहती थी. तो इट वाज अ वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट टाइम. आई डिडंट एंजॉय हैविंग दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ रिलेशनशिप विद फूड. और जब मुझे डायग्नोसिस मिला और जब मुझे मेडिकेशन मिली, मैंने पहली गोली ली और उस दिन मुझे भूख ही नहीं लगी. एंड इट वाज लाइक अ स्विच एंड आई आस्क्ड ये क्या है, लाइक व्हाई मी, मुझे ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. दवाई लेके मुझे 2 रोटी से पेट भर जाता है. 2 रोटी से पेट भर गया. सब्जी खाओ, दाल खाओ, थोड़ा सैलड खाओ, रोटी खाओ, भर गया. लाइक नॉर्मल एक इंसान जो खाना खाता है, मैं भी वो खा के हो सकता है लाइक ठीक हो सकता हूँ, ऐसा लग रहा था. बट मेडिकेशन केम विद इट्स साइड इफ़ेक्ट्स. थोड़ा स्टमक पेन, कभी कभी हेडेक, गैस्ट्राइटिस, ऐसे कुछ सिम्टम्स भी थे. आई वॉज टेकिंग अ फॉर्म ऑफ रिटलिन विच इज़ sort of like a dopamine balancer for your brain. It's a psychiatric medication. तो जैसे ही मुझे वो medication मिली, it felt like the problem solved, but it wasn't solved. तो उसके बाद मैंने साइकाइट्रिस्ट से पूछा कि अब क्या होगा, what's the next step? We've been increasing the dose every time. I don't feel very good about the fact that I'm taking these pills. So she's like, no, you'll have to get used to it. Okay. Why don't you explore psychology?
Okay.
So that was like, someone really pushing me to explore psychotherapy, and she knew of my background in nutrition. So वहाँ पे, she said, I'll send you a research paper.
That
she
time
sent
also
me.
You had a background in nutrition.
हाँ, मतलब
studying nutrition.
I was studying nutrition, so she knew that I was, deeply engrossed in science. So I love science. So the research paper was comparing psychiatric medication to cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
To treat BED, binge eating disorder.
Okay.
And cognitive behavioral therapy proved more useful in the long term.
Okay. Yes.
So I was like, if this can be so powerful,
Yeah.
I can't believe.
Yeah.
And how can just talking to someone balance your brain and like उस समय मुझे साइकोलॉजी का कुछ पता नहीं था. ऑनेस्टली गोइंग बैक इन टाइम मुझे लगता था कि अगर मैं हेल्दी खाऊंगा तो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगी. बट इट वॉज ऑलवेज माई चाइल्डहुड, इट वॉज ऑलवेज माई रिलेशनशिप विद माई सेल्फ रादर देन माई रिलेशनशिप विद फूड. एग्जैक्टली. तो फिर मुझे रियलाइज़ होने लगा कि न्यूट्रिशन एंड साइकोलॉजी आर नॉट टू सेपरेट सब्जेक्ट्स, दे आर बट वन सब्जेक्ट. और न्यूट्रिशन की बात करें तो साइकोलॉजी के बिना वो इनकम्प्लीट है, और साइकोलॉजी की बात करें तो वो न्यूट्रिशन के बिना इनकम्प्लीट है. फिर धीरे धीरे मुझे पता लगा कि यार द मोर आई एम अनकवरिंग लेयर्स एंड लेयर्स ऑफ माई चाइल्डहुड, the more aware I'm becoming, and eventually I was at a point where I could say okay, I do not want to continue with this medication and I have enough control on my food.
So you worked on your childhood.
Like yeah, not just childhood, like of course it requires you to understand a bit of your childhood, like a lot. I have notebooks full of my childhood.
Okay.
Like but it's mostly thanks to Dr. Nicole Lepaire's How to Do the Work.
Yeah, I've read her work. It's beautiful.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I have also worked on my childhood with her work.
Yeah, How to Do the Work is the Bible.
It's very good book.
Yeah. It's really holistic. So with regards to my relationship with food, it actually improved because of the psychology, the psychological work that I've put on my, like I've been doing on myself.
Okay.
And not just the nutrition. Of course, I know all the science about
nutrition,
the gut-brain connection and which food affects your mood and how.
Okay.
But it's also how you approach food, how mindful you are when it comes to eating your meals, and how calm and relaxed you are when you are eating the food. Perfect. It makes all the difference, It's not just the gut is connected to the brain. The brain is also connected to the gut. So if you're not in a positive state of mind or a relaxed state of mind when you're eating, it can actually lead to gastric, juice imbalance as well. So it's very important.
I've also read that if you can't digest life, if something is happening in your life and you're not able to accept or digest that, it affects your digestion.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because your state of mind is directly impacting the gut. See, there is something we call ENS, enteric nervous system. It is an extension of the peripheral nervous system, which is directly connected to the brain. Enteric, the word means digestive.
Okay.
So which simply means there are hundreds of millions of neural networks, neural pathways that are directly linking the gut to the brain. This is the gut-brain connection. So anything you eat has a direct impact on your microbiome, because your microbiome is directly communicating with the brain. Therefore, anything you're eating has a direct impact on your mood, on your emotional state, everything.
And everything we think has a direct impact on our gut.
Digestion. Exactly.
So this is how this connection works.
Absolutely. Because of the nervous system, which is the electrical, the chemical, we have
this neural pathway.
Exactly. We have electrical, chemical, endocrine cells that are directly connecting the gut to the brain and the brain to the gut. So this is very fast. The connection between the gut and the brain is electrical. Therefore, it's really, really fast. That's why when you have butterflies in your tummy, that's why when you're feeling stressed, you have butterflies in your tummy, because immediately when you feel anxious or stressed, it impacts your digestion immediately.
जब cortisol ज़्यादा हो जाता है body में, तो it is difficult to lose weight. People work hard, the intense exercises that they do to lose weight, but that does not benefit them because of the excessive cortisol in their body. So what would you say about that?
Absolutely, because if you're stressed and you're using your devices when you're eating, and if you're like talking to someone and it's a very emotional, stressful conversation, or like you're getting some business done, when you're eating in such a state, the digestion gets very negatively affected also. So you do not absorb food the same way when you're in a stressed state of mind. And it's important to recognize that when you are stressed, it's not just the mind that is stressed. Mind, body and soul are one. And therefore, when your mind is stressed, your body and soul are also stressed. And impacts the way you respond or react to, you know, the food you're eating. And if you're eating in a stressed state, therefore you're not absorbing the nutrients properly. And also what is very interesting to, you know is that when you have elevated cortisol levels, the liver, you know, converts glucose into fat, whereas when you're in a relaxed state, it releases bile and it converts fat into sugar. So which simply means when you are stressed, your liver is in the state of, you know, how your mind is in the state of fight, flight or freeze.
Mode, yes. Survival.
Your liver in that state is storing all the sugar, is converting the sugar that is in rice or in your fruits or any carbohydrate basically is now converted into fat reserves. Whereas when you're in a relaxed, you know, state of mind, let's say rest, digest, heal state of mind, your liver is actively converting fat into absorbable energy.
Okay. Yes.
So you're maximizing weight loss.
Yeah. So वही workout के साथ साथ we should work on that area also, our psychological instincts as well, to ease that process.
Absolutely. True. And what you're eating also has an impact on your emotions. If you're eating refined carbs, heavy, high fat ingredients, it's also going to make you feel sluggish and lethargic, and in the long term also lead to brain fog and all the symptoms that we now know. You know, it's as much as is the brain is responsible for you to not absorb the food properly, the food is equally involved in your mood being low and unhappy and all of that.
Yes. So have you experienced a change or transformation in your clients when you change their food?
Absolutely. Like, I've been working as a nutritionist for 7 years now. I have hundreds of clients all around the world.
Okay.
And many of them have reversed their, like chronic illnesses, from heart disease to diabetes.
Okay.
One of my clients has brain cancer. So they're all, pretty much living the best lives possible. Okay. I would say there are many clients who just take a few sessions and leave, but the ones who stay and, continue the work, they have definitely experienced some deep transformation. The biggest marker that I have seen come down almost immediately within a week or two is the CRP level, the C-reactive protein level, which is an inflammatory marker. So we are chronically inflamed. Inflammation is very bad for not just the body, the mind and the soul as well. So you can see that within 2 weeks, just by improving the diet, just by adding ingredients that you're missing out on, not necessarily by saying no to your favorite treats, but instead by going with the approach of completing your plate, making it more nutritionally complete, उसी से बहुत फर्क पड़ जाता है in the mood, in the lifestyle, in every aspect of life, especially the C-reactive protein. Inflammation comes down drastically.
Okay. What is the one advice that works for everyone? Like one advice you give to your clients that works for everyone?
It's easier said than done, but I would say my approach, being is actually addition. I do not tell my clients to say no to their favorite food.
Yeah.
Or like say no to chai, say no to coffee, say no to fried food. Nothing. It doesn't work like this. That's not a sustainable approach. If you're saying no, that's very restrictive eating. And you're constantly putting yourself in a place where you want to eat something and you're
Also,
like, no,
your
it's not good
relationship
for
with
me.
the food becomes that, that toxic one.
Exactly. How you have emotional patterns when it comes to relationship, your friends, your family, of being either avoidant or being anxious or being secure. It's the same with food. You might find someone who has very anxious relationship with food and they tend to be bulimic in nature. Or you might find someone who's avoidantly attached with food. They seem to be anorexic in nature. They're avoiding food until they finally can't control their hunger and they binge.
Yeah.
Or you have someone who's secure, who is just secure in their relationship with food, is eating breakfast, lunch, dinner in time and is nutritionally complete. But we are not Buddha. We're all going to be waving in between these patterns, and at different times different emotions will impact our food choices as well. So it's very important to recognize that and to not say no to what you really want to eat. Instead, the focus is to plan the bulk of your diet. If the bulk of your diet, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, let's say you eat 7 meals a day, 3 meals a day. You eat 3 meals a day. 7 days a week is 21 meals. If you're eating, let's say 15 meals or 16, 18 meals, very healthy, very wholesome, nutritionally complete, then the other 6, maybe 4 meals you can indulge in.
Yeah.
It's about bringing structure to that, and that goes not by avoiding food, but rather by saying yes to more options. So opening up your palate is a big journey. So a lot of my clients report that after starting the program, now they have explored international, like they've explored flavors from so many different countries, and their palate has really opened up. Because when you start eating healthy, you realize that you were stuck in the same food choices, but now that you've put yourself a bit out of your comfort zone, you're opening up to like so many new flavors. So plates start to look more colorful and bright, and when you bring rainbow colors to your plate, it starts healing you from deep within.
So not only plate, even our thoughts affect our digestion and our health. So I feel there's a triangle: food, exercise, and the third part is very important, which you talked about, the psychological part, right? So let's talk about that. How did it really affect your relationship with food?
Initially, in my work of the work of understanding how my brain is wired, why am I the way I am, I started realizing that a lot of this is really all about what is my narrative in that moment. And I started to watch my narrative. There were some fears, there were some judgments that weren't actually real. These were the boundaries and these restrictions that I was imposing on myself.
Limitations.
These were the limitations I had on myself, and the more I started recognizing them and started breathing into them, the more awareness I brought into my mind, the more awareness I brought into my plate. And what happened, especially like affirmations and intention setting, really worked. And
Wonderful.
that's when I realized mindful eating is not about setting the dinner table right. Of course, that's a very important step to really take time to, maybe just a minute or two, to really serve yourself a nice looking plate. That's nice, but what's even more important is to set an intention that, okay, I will eat mindfully, I will enjoy every bite before you eat your food. That way, when you're eating the food, because you've affirmed so strongly, when you're actually eating, you have the chances really spike up of you being more aware of the flavors, the mouth feels, the textures that are going on,
You absorb the food better.
Exactly. And that's, after so many years of this work, I feel like my relationship with food has been improving to a level that I see it more like a issue of the society not teaching us to eat food mindfully. कि mindfulness हमें सिखाई जानी चाहिए स्कूल में.
बिल्कुल.
कि बैठो, बच्चों को सिखाओ, बच्चों
खाना कैसे है?
हाँ,
खाना कैसे खाना है?
खाना थोड़ा शांति में खाएंगे, गप्पे मारनी है, मारो, कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन just pay attention to how you're feeling in that moment. I think a child is very smart in terms of figuring out solutions to the problems. If you just allow the child to breathe. It's just that our parents, our society has stopped telling children to approach food mindfully.
They didn't know any better.
Yeah, maybe they weren't equipped with those tools to begin with. And honestly, if I I've been looking at the psychology of food as well. In my nutrition course as well, there was a full module dedicated to the psychology of food. There's a very popular researcher, Dr. Douglas Lyle. He's a psychologist and he has a book called The Pleasure Trap. The Pleasure Trap. उसमें वो बताते हैं कि कैसे सोसाइटी फैट की तरफ भागती है. अब क्या है कि इंडिया में वी हैड फेमाइंस लाइक द बंगाल फेमाइन. 3 million people were starved to death. तो हम जो इंडियंस है ना, वी वर रॉब्ड ऑफ. वी वर द रिचेस्ट कंट्री बैक इन द डे एंड व्हेन द ब्रिटिशर्स द कॉलोनाइजर्स लेफ्ट अस वी वर द पोरेस्ट. तो हमारे अंदर जो ट्रॉमा है व्हेन इट कम्स टू फूड इज़ सो डीपली इनग्रेन्ड कि उसका मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि ये वर्क कैसे करता है. देखो, ह्यूमंस आर वायर्ड टू गो फॉर फैट बिकॉज पुराने टाइम पे फैट नहीं होता था. अगर हमारे एंसेस्टर्स जंगल में घूम रहे हैं, फॉरेज करने की कुछ कोशिश कर रहे हैं, स्कैवेंज कर रहे हैं कुछ, तो मान लो उन्हें हनी का पाइल दिख गया कि एक बेर है वो हनी खा रहा है, तो वो बेर का वेट करेंगे. भालू जब निकलेगा वहाँ से अपना शेयर खा के, जो बचेगा वो उसको तभी लपेट लेंगे, सारा का सारा खा लेंगे. जितना खाना मिला खा लेंगे बिकॉज आगे खाना कब मिलेगा पता ही नहीं है. It's only 12,000 years ago that farming has come. उससे पहले for millions of years of our human evolution हमारे पास एक ये गारंटी नहीं थी कि कल का खाना कब मिलेगा, कि सेकंड मील आज मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी. ये तो बहुत ही रिसेंट है. तो हम वायर्ड हैं. द प्लेजर ट्रैप आर्ग्यूज दैट वी आर वायर्ड टू हंट फॉर फैट. इसीलिए आज से 100 साल पहले आप देखो इतना फैट अवेलेबल नहीं था मार्केट में,
क्योंकि फैट कैलोरी स्टोर करता है इसलिए ना.
हाँ, मतलब
हाँ, शॉर्टेज के टाइम पे भी वो
एग्जैक्टली काम आता है. एग्जैक्टली, फैट इज बेसिकली व्हेन यू आर ईटिंग हाई फैट फूड यू आर स्टॉकिंग अप फॉर द हार्ड डेज एंड योर बॉडी सेज हाँ यार, लेट्स लीव क्लीनिंग फॉर लेटर, लेट्स नॉट क्लीन द फैट रिजर्व्स एंड द damaged mitochondria, the misfolded proteins. So वो जो cellular renewal और जो intestinal renewal processes है वो कभी initiate ही नहीं होते हैं. और हम क्या करते हैं, हम फैट खाते रहते हैं. तो पहले के टाइम पे ऐसा नहीं होता था. पहले के टाइम पे अगर आपने एक हाई फैट मील खा ली है, आपकी बॉडी को टाइम ही टाइम उसको डाइजेस्ट करने को ना. पता नहीं अगला खाना कब मिलेगा, आज मिले, 2 दिन बाद मिले, 1 हफ्ते बाद मिले, यू डोंट नो. तो वी आर नाउ, यू नो, our dopamine receptors have been hijacked. We have now been put in a situation where the evolutionary instincts of eating more fat, of hunting more fat, are now being manipulated. वो कैसे, पहले हमें फैट मिलता नहीं था तो हम ज़्यादा खाते थे. अभी हम सोच रहे हैं कि यार अच्छा फैट है, जंक फूड है. एग्जैक्टली, वायरिंग तो वैसे ही है. Exactly.
That is why I have named it Rewire, because we have been wired to do certain things in those ways. तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम उन वेज को, उन तरीकों को रीवायर करें to live an abundant and healthy life.
How beautiful is that? तो हमारी सोसाइटी ने हमें इस हिसाब से प्रोग्राम किया है आज की डेट में कि हमें इतना फैट मिलता है. 10 रुपए के लेस के चिप्स में कितनी कैलोरीज है, 300-400 कैलोरी हो जाती है, जो कि पहले हमारे एंसेस्टर्स को 300 कैलोरी ढूंढने में ही इतना टाइम लग जाता था. और जंगल में अगर बेर मिल रही हैं, बेरीज हैं, फ्रूट्स हैं, उनमें कितनी कैलोरी होती थी, हरे पत्तों में कितनी कैलोरी होती हैं, और कितना ज़्यादा खाना पड़ता है. आप एक चिंपैंजी को देखो,
आप अभी भी जंगल में जाके वो खाते हो ना, बेरीज. आई हैव सीन योर
बहुत ज़्यादा. आई लव स्पेंडिंग टाइम इन नेचर. आई एम अ नेचर बॉय. आई लव बीइंग इन द फॉरेस्ट, बट माय जॉब रिक्वायर्स मी टू ट्रैवल. एंड कभी भी आओ, I'll take you for a beautiful walk in the nature and tell you all about the plant life that I know. Because पहले क्या था, हमें फैट मिलता नहीं था और आज को फैट अबंडेंस में है. तो ये हम इसे कहते हैं द प्लेजर ट्रैप. डॉक्टर डगलस लाइल ने उसे टाइटल दिया द प्लेजर ट्रैप, जिसमें द abundance of salt, oil and sugar, like all of these 3 foods, all of the heavy fat foods is now something our ancestors are like, खा लो भाई, तुम्हें पता नहीं मिले ना मिले. You might have seen the fat Indian uncle belly. The round Indian uncle belly. Like, where does that come from? That is coming from the genetics that has been manipulated over the last century क्योंकि पहले हमारे एंसेस्टर्स को ना मिलता नहीं था फैट.
That comes from survival instincts.
एग्जैक्टली. क्यों फिर क्या हुआ, वो फेमाइन आ गया. फिर फेमाइन आने की वजह से हमारा जीन ही मैनिपुलेट हो गया. तो अब हम जब ज़्यादा फैट खाते हैं, ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा फैट खाते हैं, तो वो एक राउंड बेली बन जाता है. इट्स एक्चुअली कॉल्ड विसरल फैट डिपॉजिट. तो ऑल ऑफ दैट विसरल फैट विच इज ऑर्गन फैट गेट्स डिपॉजिटेड अराउंड द एब्डोमेन, and that's what is causing the fat Indian uncle belly, unfortunately. And you see, this is so common, and it's so common. Where is it coming from? From our ancestors, our like older generation telling us, nahi kha beta, kha tu aur kha. Where is that coming? You have to question why our parents, why our relatives are like, nahi raat ko kha raha hai, zyada kha, kam mat kha, zyada kha, jab bhi kha raha डट के खा. Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
It's coming from the same scarcity, but of the pleasure trap, basically.
We feel that void within ourselves कि वो satisfaction ही नहीं होती है. वो जब तक हम कहते हैं ना कि 70% तक we should stop, कि when we are full 70% we should stop eating. But कुछ तो void होता है ना, that we keep eating. Sometimes for pleasure, sometimes for hunger, and we feel that कि it is hunger. तो कुछ needs भी तो होती है ना, psychological needs behind that hunger.
Absolutely. एक void है जिसकी manifestation है hunger. But actual में वो एक तरह का symptom है, it's not the cause. The real cause is some emotional imbalance maybe that psychology has answers to.
Yeah, people crave sugar a lot because they somehow feel unloved.
I'll look into it. It sounds relevant.
Yeah.
Definitely, but yeah.
So ऐसे हमने देखा है ना कि जब हमें बहुत ही ऐसा फील होता है कि या फिर हम किसी से नाराज़ हो जाते हैं या गुस्सा हो जाते हैं या परेशान होते हैं, तो फिर हमें बहुत क्रेविंग होती है शुगर की. सो बेसिकली वी आर फिलिंग दैट वॉइड विद दैट शुगर. सो या ओके. सो हाउ डज फूड अफेक्ट इमोशंस? क्या खाना चाहिए कि हमारे इमोशंस भी पॉजिटिव रहें? What foods would you recommend to our audiences?
So when it comes to emotions, I would say that the research is very clear. See, whatever you eat that has carbon or like energy or carbohydrate in it, sugar basically, it has to enter the blood first. पहले वो खाने का जो एनर्जी है, उसमें कार्बन है, उसको शुगर को पहले ब्लड में आना पड़ेगा. फिर वो ब्लड से जिस भी सेल में चाहिए वहाँ पहुँच जाएगी, जिस भी टिश्यू में, जिस भी सेल में चाहिए वहाँ पे पहुँच जाएगी. ब्लड इज़ द कैरियर, वेयर 70% वाटर. तो ब्लड इज़ कैरिंग द एनर्जी टू द प्लेस वेयर इट इज़ नीडेड, राइट. लेट्स से एक्सक्यूज मी, लेट्स से आपको प्यूपिल्स डायलेट करने के लिए विटामिन ए लगता है.
ओके.
एक्सक्यूज मी, विटामिन ए लगता है आपके प्यूपिल्स को डायलेट करने के लिए. तो वो विटामिन ए आपकी प्यूपिल्स पे पहुंचता कहाँ से? पहले आपका गट सिंथेसाइज करता है compounds like beta carotene into vitamin A. The microbiome, the gut bacteria, fungus, phages जो यहाँ रहते हैं, they synthesize that into vitamin A, and the blood, through the blood it is transported to the eyes. So any nutrient, this is one example that your body needs, is transported to wherever it's needed through the blood. तो शुगर की जब बात करें, जब हम कुछ ज़्यादा हाई शुगर खाते हैं तो वो हमारे ब्लड में बहुत जल्दी एक शुगर का बफर क्रिएट करता है. तो जितना जल्दी ब्लड में शुगर आएगा उसको हम कहते हैं ब्लड शुगर स्पाइक. उतना ही जल्दी ब्लड से वो बाहर जाएगा. जितना स्लोली ब्लड में आएगा उतना ग्रेजुअली ब्लड से जाएगा. दिस इज कॉल्ड कंट्रोल्ड ब्लड शुगर रिस्पॉन्स. सो व्हाट वी ईट, you know, if it is causing a sudden spike in our blood sugar, it will also cause a sort of like a sudden, you know, fall in blood sugar. So whereas if we eat something that is helping us control our blood sugar response, it will also, you know, go down gradually and slowly. So the number one food which has been linked to control blood sugar is actually legumes. दाल बेसिकली, चाहे वो बीन्स हो, पीज हो, लेंटल्स हो, बेसिकली मसूर दाल हो, किसी भी तरह की,
इन द फॉर्म जैसे हम इंडियन फॉर्म में बनाते हैं, इन दैट फॉर्म ओनली.
आई वुड जस्ट से कि इंडियन फॉर्म में अगर हम घी या तेल कम डालें या ना डालें, वो दाल बहुत ही
हेल्दी
कामयाब है. और इफ़ यू थिंक ऑफ अ हेल्दी डाइट, द beans are not just a form of like a tool for us to have controlled blood sugar spike and therefore have sustained energy for long hours without experiencing brain fog. In fact, it has been also been now been linked directly with to longevity. The legumes for longevity is now the new trend in nutrition. जितनी ज़्यादा दाल आप खाते उतना लंबा आप जिएंगे.
अच्छा.
It's not just that, it's also an incredible source of protein. So 1 cup of cooked dal can offer 15, 20, depending on which dal you're using, 15 to 20 grams of protein.
Okay.
So if you're eating 2 cups a day, 3 cups a day, imagine the protein is just like in surplus then. And we know we need enough protein as well.
Yeah.
Not just protein and the controlled blood sugar spike, it is also dals are an exceptional source of fiber and resistant starch. Both of these things. तो फाइबर होता क्या है, ये सवाल बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है. फाइबर इज नथिंग बट वन ऑफ द 3 टाइप्स ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स. आपने कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स के बारे में पढ़ा है? सिंपल कार्ब्स होती हैं, किस में होती हैं?
वीट में, राइस में.
वीट राइस में भी कॉम्प्लेक्स कार्ब होता है, स्टार्च होता है.
तो सिंपल कार्ब्स किस में होती हैं?
सिंपल कार्ब फ्रूट्स में होती हैं, जैसे या फ्रूट जूसेस में होती हैं, या शुगर, वाइट शुगर लेते हो. द थर्ड टाइप ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, कार्बन, एनर्जी. The third type of carbohydrate is fiber. Fiber is the third type of sugar.
Oh, that is new to me.
But
fiber is a kind of carbohydrate. I didn't know that.
You look at the ingredient list of, or the nutrition profile of any ingredient or any thing that comes in a packet. It will say carbohydrate and side में fiber. कि of the total carbohydrate, fiber से इतने ग्राम फाइबर है इसमें. So fiber is the third type of sugar, third type of carbohydrate, also known as roughage, because earlier we thought that ये तो digest करते ही नहीं हैं हम तो इसे digest कर ही नहीं सकते हैं. So a low fiber diet was recommended before we knew कि ये इसका purpose क्या है. But now we know the purpose of fiber. See, there are 38 trillion living organisms in your gut.
Microbiomes.
Microorganisms in your gut.
Yeah.
In the gut microbiome, there live, जब हम gut बोलते हैं, we're usually referring to the small and the large intestine, where live 38 trillion microorganisms in a healthy gut. That's more than the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. So there are more, there is a larger, more diverse ecosystem within your body than there are stars in the galaxy. So it's crazy that ecosystem exists in each and every one of us. And it's our relationship with those microorganisms that really makes a difference. See, humans आए ही microorganisms से हैं. First form of life was archaea, from where came bacteria, from where came fungi. And all of these microorganisms that exist in the nature, in the forest floor, that help the trees communicate with each other, exchange nutrients. वो same ecosystem हमारे पेट में भी है, वो जिसे हम microbiome कहते हैं. So when we say gut or gut microbiome, we are not referring to the large and the small intestine specifically. We are not referring to the muscles. We are referring to the living, breathing microorganisms. What do they eat?
Fiber.
Exactly. That's why fiber is so important. A higher fiber diet, a more complete fiber diet coming from varied food groups is the secret to a healthy gut microbiome.
That is why now nutritionists have discarded juices. Fruit juices. Earlier it used to be a trend कि fruit juice पियो आप healthy रहेंगे. Now they have discarded it. I think so.
क्योंकि fiber ही नहीं है. Plus blood sugar response बहुत high है. For any ingredient to qualify as healthy according to me, it has to have these 3 parameters.
One parameter is fiber.
Second बात करी हमने blood sugar response की. It should have a controlled blood sugar spike, not like a very steep blood sugar spike and a very steep fall of the blood sugars, but a rather instead a very gradual blood sugar spike in a very gradual fall. It leads to balanced mood.
So that it sustains you for a longer time.
Exactly. And controlled blood sugar response has been directly linked to better emotional health.
Okay.
So we feel less irritated, less agitated when we have eaten more,
Yeah.
controlled blood sugar
Because
foods.
they are not running out of sugar.
Exactly. जब हमें एकदम से शुगर मिलेगी हम एजिटेटेड फील करेंगे, हम इमोशनली ट्रिगर्ड फील करेंगे.
और फिर हमें वो बिंज ईटिंग की तरफ भी जाएंगे अगर शुगर नहीं होगी बॉडी में.
Exactly. See, if you look at it like from a XY axis
Yeah.
perspective, where this is measuring what is the blood sugar. Blood sugar यहाँ है, यहाँ है, यहाँ है. और ये है time. कि what is the time?
Okay.
Let's say this is fasting level 10. The minute your blood sugar dips below 10, you feel very hungry. And now you eat sugar, it will spike up really high really fast, but then it come crashing down. So इतने से time में fall और low हो गया. You'll feel hungry again.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whereas if your blood sugar response goes up nice and gradually and comes down nice and gradually, you've sustained the blood
Sustain it.
sugars for a really long duration. Plus the spike was never so high.
Yeah.
So it directly impacts your emotional health. First was fiber. How to qualify an ingredient as healthy? I'm answering that. You can judge whether an ingredient is healthy or not by these 3 parameters. First is how much fiber does it have? Second is what is its impact on our blood sugars? And thirdly, its nutrient density. It should offer exceptional nutrient density. It should be so healthy in terms of what it's offering nutritionally. Let's say polyphenol content, antioxidant content, vitamins, minerals, healthy protein, fats. ये सब बहुत high quantity में होना चाहिए. जो भी ingredient हम healthy कह रहे हैं. तो दाल जहाँ तक बात करें is best for emotional health because it has controlled blood sugar spike. Okay. It is highest in fiber and nutritionally very, very dense. But
Wonderful.
if you'd also asked me, what is the one recommendation you give to your clients?
Yeah.
And then you
ask a single recommendation that works for everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one recommendation that works for everyone is to eat more whole fruit.
Whole fruits.
Whole fruits and vegetables. In India, almost 80% of Indians do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. We are fiber deficient. So when we start eating more fruits and vegetables, we see very powerful changes in our mind,
Okay. Right. Wonderful. Okay, so coming back to gut-brain connection. We talk about कि मुझे gut feeling आ रही है. हम ऐसे बात करते हैं ना generally. Is it coming from the same background that gut is related to intuition?
ये जो माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स जो गट में रहते हैं ना, ये बड़े अंडररेटेड है. यही हमें कंट्रोल करते हैं मोर देन वी अंडरस्टैंड. सी वी थिंक, आई वाज थिंकिंग कि वरुण ही तो सब कुछ है, वरुण के पास दिमाग है, वरुण के पेट में बैक्टीरिया है, वो तो सेकेंडरी चीज़ है ना, वो तो प्राइमरी चीज़ है ही नहीं क्योंकि वरुण है. तो माई ईगो वाज सो इन्फ्लेटेड आई कुडंट रियलाइज दैट इट वाजंट रियली मी थिंकिंग. Like it's not just me thinking. If my subconscious brain is directly controlled by my autonomous nervous system and my autonomous nervous system is directly controlled by my gut. The bacteria, exactly, the bacteria, the fungi, the phages, especially the bacteria and fungi, if they are the ones controlling my autonomous nervous system, see, 90% of my reaction is coming from my subconscious, which is controlled by my autonomous nervous system. I might think that, okay, I'm speaking so fluently with Tamanna on this podcast. Oh, I'm breathing very naturally. My hair is still growing. All of this is happening automatically. But who controls it is the question. It's the microbiome that is controlling so much of my subconscious.
So you have to keep them happy.
That's the secret to a healthy life, a happy life, healthy gut.
Oh, so you have to keep those babies happy.
Yeah, if they are nourished, they'll keep you nourished as well. Most of the problems that we see today, psychological problems of depression, anxiety, of PTSD, so many of these issues have direct connections with the leaky gut. Now, what is a leaky gut?
Yeah. I was about to ask, what is a leaky gut?
The people often think that if they have loose stool, that's a leaky gut, but that's not true.
Okay.
See, gut is a host organ. Who is it hosting? How you're hosting me on this podcast? In my gut, I am hosting trillions of microorganisms, and they are my permanent residents.
Okay.
So gut is a host organ. Now what happens, there is a mucosal membrane. Mucus की एक membrane होती है जो बैक्टीरिया को ब्लड में आने से रोकती है. बैक्टीरिया ब्लड में आ गया तो प्रॉब्लम ही प्रॉब्लम है. हेल्दी बैक्टीरिया हेल्दी वहीं पर है जहाँ पे उसको होना चाहिए.
गट के अराउंड ये म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन होती है.
हाँ, हमारे इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर एक म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन है जिसके अंदर बैक्टीरिया होता है. अगर वो मेम्ब्रेन डैमेज होगी तो उसे लीकी गट कहते हैं.
Okay.
जिस वजह से स्मॉल इंटेस्टिनल बैक्टीरियल ओवरग्रोथ सीबो होता है, IBS होता है. That's another very good question. We now know that many issues, many like lifestyle factors can damage it, including lack of exercise, lack of good sleep can damage it. But the biggest thing that can, of course, stress can damage it. The gut lining can be damaged by stress. But the biggest thing that damages the gut lining is unhealthy food. Food that is high in SOS, salt, oil or sugar.
Negative thoughts.
Of course. As I said, stress, exercise and sleep. These three things have been, apart from diet, have been proven to cause disruption in the gut microbiome and lead to a leaky gut. However, the biggest contributor is food that is high in salt, oil and sugar.
Salt, oil and sugar.
So excessive eating of salty, oily and sugary foods is the leading cause of a leaky gut.
Okay.
However, if you're eating healthy, but your sleep is not okay, you're not exercising enough and you're not
thinking positive.
Exactly. And then also there is a chance of your gut microbiome not being in balance. We know like running 60 or walking 60 minutes a day is so crucial, or like exercising 60 minutes a day is so crucial that it actually makes your gut microbiome happy. So if the gut microbes are very happy, you're going to be happy. So exercising is also so very important. We know that if you're sleeping 8-9 hours a day, 7 to 9 hours a day, your gut is happy. And it's not just one thing in isolation. Usually a person who doesn't have a healthy relationship with food doesn't experience good sleep, doesn't have the motivation to exercise, doesn't have an emotional state of mind. It's a loop. So the minute you start working on one aspect, the others also start to fall in place. And you're never going to be perfect in all of these aspects. Of course, there is always going to be ups and downs. But it's just about setting the intention of, doing things with more awareness, eating more mindfully and managing stress.
So how would you consider a plate nutritionally complete?
If you think of a plate, like a circular plate, half of that plate is vegetables. Now, when we say vegetables, it's a very vague term, but specifically, I would focus on these three unique vegetable groups. First is cruciferous vegetables, जो पत्ता गोभी, फूल गोभी, ब्रोकली, ये जो इस सरसों वाली फैमिली से है ना, तो कॉलीफ्लावर, ब्रोकली, ब्रसेल्स स्प्राउट्स, ये केल, अरुगुला, बॉक चॉय, दिस फैमिली इज कॉल्ड क्रूसीफरस बिकॉज उसमें सल्फोरोफेन होता है, एक एंजाइम होता है, उसकी वजह से उसे क्रूसीफरस कहते हैं. तो क्रूसीफरस वेजिटेबल्स आर वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट, सो अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ दैट. एंड देन सेकेंड इज लीफी ग्रीन्स. अब स्पिनच, इफ यू थिंक ऑफ स्पिनच, calorically it offers high protein. It is a great source of fiber, resistant starch, minerals, iron, magnesium. So leafy greens like spinach, kale, arugula leaves, bok choy leaves, common ones like मूली के पत्ते, शलगम के पत्ते, मेथी और दिल के पत्ते या लाल भाजी या फिर जो अपनी एमरंथ होती है, ग्रीन एंड रेड एमरंथ, जो भी हरे पत्ते हैं ना, अगर हम वो डेली खाएंगे थोड़े से तो वो भी बहुत अच्छे हैं. एंड थर्ड कैटेगरी ऑफ वेजिटेबल्स इज ऑल द अदर वेजिटेबल्स एंड मशरूम्स. तो उसमें टिंडे, भिंडी, कद्दू, बीटरूट, गाजर सब आ गया. Anyway, so to sum it up, half of the circle of your lunch plate should be vegetables. Now the other half can be divided into two. One half is beans or peas or lentils, any legume. Basically, कोई भी दाल अच्छे से पकी हुई, which you should feel free to have another portion of if you feel like, because if you're feeling hungry, you're probably hungry for more dal. And then the third is whole grains. So rice, like preferably colored rice, some brown, purple, red, red or black rice, any colored rice, or millets, or any other whole grain or pseudo grain like quinoa, buckwheat, any grain is the 1/3 of the circle. Now this is the circle of the bulk of your plate. But now there should be a small little bowl in the center, a little circle in the center that comprises of nuts and seeds or any nut or seed based sort of dressing, nut or seed based dressing that will make it nutritionally complete. So that's an ideal lunch for Varun.
Okay. Great. Okay. So, abhi, like we use a lot of oil. What oil would you recommend? And how much oil would you recommend?
So my favorite is air oil. So what happens when I turn on the gas, I put let's say a pan. Then I take an empty bowl and pretend to empty all the air in it. So मैंने वो pretend कर दिया ना, अब मैं उसके ऊपर जीरा डालूंगा, भून लूंगा, प्याज, अदरक, लहसुन डालूंगा, उसे भून लूंगा, सूखा आराम से भुना जाता है. You don't need any oil. If you watch any of my recipe videos on YouTube or Instagram, you'll see I don't use even a drop of oil. और मेरा खाना
कैसे भुनेंगे उसे बिना ऑयल के?
That's a very good question. See, the secret is in the onion. If you come to my restaurant, Bodhi Greens, and you have a बैंगन का भरता or a कड़ी पकोड़ा or a दाल मखनी or any of these recipes has onion. And the fact that makes our कड़ी पकोड़ा taste exactly like a proper कड़ी पकोड़ा to a Punjabi palate. And they're like, ये तो बिल्कुल अच्छा है, ये तो बिल्कुल नॉर्मल कड़ी पकोड़ा, इसमें कोई फ़र्क ही नहीं है. क्योंकि दाल पकाई है, कोई सब्जी पकाई है, टिंडे बनाए हैं, भिंडी बनाई है, बैंगन भरता बनाया है. तो उसमें सीक्रेट है अनियन को अच्छे से भुनना. तो यूजुअली आप 3 से 5 मिनट में भुन लेते हो ना. ऑयल फ्री
बिना ऑयल के भी भून सकते हैं.
जब ऑयल फ्री करना है तो उसे थोड़ा 10-12 मिनट लगते हैं. So it does take a bit longer. On low flame, just keep going. If it starts to stick to the pan, add a bit of water, just like a teaspoon of water to deglaze wherever it's sticking from. We call it deglazing the fond. And when you do that, you're adding more flavor back into the plate, into the pan by deglazing. जो भी चीज़ें अनियन के नीचे स्टिक कर जाती हैं ना, एक ब्राउन सी लेयर आ जाती है, उसे फॉन्ड कहते हैं फ्रेंच में. तो when we deglaze using water or vinegar, we're arresting more flavor that's been, the onion or the ginger garlic that has been caramelized on the bottom. तो उसमें बहुत intense flavor होता है. तो जितना slow और अच्छे से cook करेंगे ना अनियन को, और एक बार कैरामलाइज हो गया अनियन थोड़ा, तो फिर बाकी की दाल बनेगी और या कोई सब्जी बनेगी, कोई फर्क बता ही नहीं पाएगा, उसमें ऑयल नहीं है.
Really?
और अगर आपको थोड़ा बहुत यूज करना है, the idea is not to say no to oil. आप ½ टीस्पून 1 टीस्पून कर लो फॉर अ फैमिली. थोड़ा इंडिविजुअल के लिए थोड़ा कुछ ड्रॉप्स में भी हो जाता है. यू डोंट नीड टू यूज अ टेबल स्पून और 2 tablespoon नेसेसरीली. लाइक आई सी a lot.
जितना अच्छा ऑयल डालेंगे उतनी अच्छी सब्जी बनेगी.
हाँ, जितना ज़्यादा ऑयल डालेंगे उतनी अच्छी सब्जी बनेगी. ये तो माना जाता है. बट जितना कम डालेंगे उतनी हेल्दी बनेगी. जितना अच्छे से मसाले और स्पेशली प्याज को भून लेंगे, सब्जी को भून लेंगे, फ़र्क पता ही नहीं लगेगा.
अच्छा.
और अगर आपने डालना है तो कम से कम डालो, और कोल्ड प्रेस ऑयल्स यूज़ करो, लाइक ऑलिव ऑयल, sesame oil, mustard oil, groundnut oil that are cold pressed. They are better. So little bit of those oils is good enough for cooking.
Great, that is something new actually. कि we can make sabzi without oil. That is
very easy and possible.
वरुण कौन सा मिल्क पीता है?
Oat milk is not the healthiest because उसका blood sugar response high होता है. Plus उसमें if you read the package carefully is usually refined oil, so better stay away. But it has great flavor. So once a while if you're having oat milk, no problem. Great. But on an everyday basis, maybe it's not the healthiest.
Why did you choose to go for plant-based lifestyle? Why not animal-based lifestyle? Why not cow's milk? Why not buffalo's milk? Why oat milk, almond milk?
एक फॉरेनर आया था मेरे होम टाउन धर्मशाला में एंड ही वाज लाइक ये दूध घी ना हेल्दी नहीं होता. मैं तो पागल हो गया. दूध घी से तो सेहत बनती है. तू मेरे घर पे आ, मैं तुझे बताता हूँ दूध कितने अच्छे से बनता है. बोले तुझे पता है कहाँ से आता है दूध? मैं कहाँ से आता है? क्या गाय से आता है? गाय हम खुद पालते हैं. क्या हो गया? तुझे पता है मेरे मामा के पास 20 गायें हैं. माय मामू इज अ प्राउड डेयरी फार्मर. हु व्हाट आर यू सेइंग? तो ही इज लाइक यू आर वेरी डिफेंसिव. यू डोंट नीड टू जस्ट बी सो डिफेंसिव. जस्ट लिसन टू व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. क्या बोल रहा है? तू पागल हो गया है भाई क्या? बोले नो ब्रो, इट्स नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम a point of compassion, it's coming from a point of greed and it's unhealthy. You can do your research. I'm like, मैं तुझे आज कल के कल proof करता हूँ. And that's when I started researching and I came across this documentary, a small little 10-minute video called Horrors of the Indian Dairy Industry. Horrors of the Indian Dairy Industry. It's a 10-minute video by PETA India. They have one 8-minute video in English and 10-minute in Hindi. And I'd seen the Hindi version back then. और मैं रो पड़ा देख के. और बिकॉज मैं ऑलरेडी एसडी कॉलेज में कुत्ता था पिछले हफ्ते और वो बीमार हो गया था. तो एक वॉलंटियर थी, उसने बोला यार कैन यू हेल्प मी कैरी दिस डॉग टू द SPCA इन 38 वेस्ट. हमने बहुत दूर है पर चलते हैं. हमने ऑटो किया, डॉगी को पकड़ के हम लेके गए वहाँ पे. एंड आई सॉ सो मैनी सिक एंड इंजर्ड एनिमल्स दैट आई रियलाइज कि यार ये तो बहुत ही अलग ही दुनिया है यहाँ पे. फिर मैं कॉलेज जाना कम कर दिया और मैंने SPCA जाना शुरू कर दिया. I started really spending time at the animal, with the animals there at the shelter. But now when I think about it, I was spending all of my time with dogs and cats. Yeah. I was not really going to the buffalo and cow section. तो वहाँ पे SPCA में cows और buffaloes भी हैं, but मैं बिल्कुल नहीं जाता था. मेरा सारा attention dogs, cats, pigeons, kites, मैना, जितने भी एनिमल्स वहाँ पे हैं उन पे जाता था जो जिससे इंसान यूजुअली ज़्यादा कनेक्ट करता है. गाय तो सेकेंडरी एनिमल था मेरे लिए. अच्छा. वो वीडियो जब मैंने देखी मैं कहा यार मैं वहाँ जाऊँगा और मैं देखूँगा. When I saw the PETA India's video almost a week later, I went to 38 West and I for the first time went to the cows and buffalo section. And I was looking at it and वहाँ पे बच्चे थे and I was like ये बच्चे हैं, दूध निकाल रहे हैं, सब ठीक ही लग रहा है, कुछ ज़्यादा गड़बड़ लग नहीं रही. बट लेट्स जस्ट सी. आई स्टार्टेड हेल्पिंग आउट. पानी लाया, घास लाया, भूसा ड्राई खिलाते हैं, कुछ घास तो खिलाते नहीं. तो फिर मुझे लगा कि मुझे ना 45 सेक्टर की गौशाला जाना चाहिए. फिर मैं वहाँ चला गया तो वहाँ पे लाइन लगी हुई थी. तो वो वहाँ पे आप पैसे दो. मैंने 200 रुपीज़ दिए और बदले में मुझे चारा दे दिया. मैं भी लाइन में लग गया. चारा लेके मैं भी चल रहा हूँ लाइन में. ओम नमः शिवाय, जय श्री कृष्ण कहते मैंने सबकी तरह वहाँ पे डाल दिया गाय को. वो बड़े फिट थे, वो जो बुल्स थे खाना खा रहे थे. पीछे बीमार और इंजर्ड काउस थी. तो मैंने देखा कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. फिर मैंने वेट किया. मैं कहा यार देखते हैं. फिर मैं दोबारा एग्जिट कर गया वहाँ से. फिर मैं दोबारा से एंटर किया. मैं कहा यार मुझे नहीं दिखलाना, ये सिस्टम थोड़ा ठीक नहीं लग रहा मंदिर का. कि आप मंदिर में जाओ, पैसे दो, भूसा खिलाओ और बाहर निकल जाओ. मुझे रुकना है. फिर मैं ओपन ही था सब कुछ. मैं बच्चों की तरफ चला गया. मैंने बच्चे देखे. 4 दिन बाद बच्चे गायब. फिर मैंने कहा यार बच्चे कहाँ गए? बोले कौन से बच्चे? आप क्या बात कर रहे हो? क्यों ऐसे पूछ रहे हो सवाल? आप कौन होते हैं सवाल पूछने वाले? मैं कहा भाई मैं तो यहाँ का नागरिक हूँ, मतलब मैं कॉलेज में पढ़ाई करता हूँ. आप मेरे सवाल का जवाब दो. बच्चे थे वहाँ पे, कहाँ गए? फिर मुझे कोई सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे. एंड आई वाज लाइक ये तो बहुत ही कुछ गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं. दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज कि एक बहुत ही सिंपल फैक्ट रियलाइज किया कि मिल्क इज द हार्मोनल सीक्रेशन ऑफ अ मदर हु जस्ट हैड अ बेबी. गाय तब दूध देती है जब वो बछड़ा पैदा करती है. घास खा के दूध नहीं देती रहती. एंड आई रियलाइज कि फिर मैंने थोड़ा साइंस समझा कि 12 साल में 10 बच्चे करवा लेते हैं. 25-30 साल का जीवन होता है. तो 12 साल के बाद हम बोलते हैं किसी काम की नहीं है, बट उसका आधा जीवन. इट्स लाइक टेलिंग अ 50-year-old who's hit menopause, 50-55-year-old woman who's hit menopause कि भाई अब तेरा कोई जीवन नहीं है. तो एक्चुअली शुरुआत वहाँ से हुई कि मैंने देखा कि जिस तरह का ये बिज़नेस है जिसमें मतलब अभी वो बूढ़ी हुई भी नहीं है पूरी तरह से, उस गाय को यूज़लेस करार करके मतलब या तो कत्ल खाने भेज देते हैं या फिर सड़क पे छोड़ देते हैं या काफ़ी फार्मर्स भूखा ही मार देते हैं. क्योंकि एक बूढ़ी गाय एक बर्डन है सोसाइटी पे. हाँ, फार्मर पे बर्डन है, फाइनेंशियल बर्डन है. एक गाय 60 से 80 गुना ज़्यादा खाती है एक इंसान से, तो इतने बड़े जानवर को इतना चारा, इतना खाना खिलाना बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है एक पुअर फार्मर के लिए. फिर मैंने रियलाइज़ किया ये बिल्कुल ही टॉक्सिक है और मैं तो नहीं खा सकता.
Even they're impregnated artificially.
Repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
मतलब जंगल में if you look at wildebeest और water buffaloes, they live up to 20-25 years of age and they give 3 to 5 births in that lifetime. हमारी गाय अभी 9 महीने हुए ही थे बच्चा पैदा किए हुए, और मतलब बच्चा भी हुआ ही है 9 महीने का, वो पहली हीट में आए उसको आर्टिफिशियली इम्प्रेग्नेंट कर देते हैं.
And then she's separated from the calves.
आप गांव में जाओगे, डॉक्टर को फ़ोन करोगे ना कि आ जाओ यार गाय बीमार है, हाँ कल आता हूँ, परसों आता हूँ. अरे गाय हीट पे है, वो तभी के तभी पहुँच जाते हैं या अगले दिन आ जाते हैं आर्टिफिशियली इंसेमिनेट करने. तो एक इंसेंटिव जो जुड़ा हुआ है ना, और आजकल तो ऐसे इंजेक्शंस आ गए हैं दैट मेक श्योर दैट देयर आर ओवर 90% चांसेस दैट द calf will be female because male calves तो useless है.
Really?
अगर देखो ना 12 साल की उम्र में 10 बच्चे ले लिए हैं गाय से, 10 में से 5 मेल होने चाहिए थे जो कि यूजलेस होते हैं. फीमेल्स तो प्रोडक्टिव होंगी, उनको तो 1.5-2 साल बाद फिर से उनको प्रेग्नेंट करके बच्चा करवा के दूध लिया जाएगा. तो वहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल इंसेंटिव है. तो इट्स नॉट जस्ट एन एनिमल राइट्स इशू, इट्स एक्चुअली अ फेमिनिज्म इशू एज वेल. कि जो all of the abuse that we see in the dairy and the poultry, especially the chicken and poultry industry, the egg industry, is on females. Those chickens in an A4 size sheet, they have to spend their entire life. Just because they have
the capability to reproduce.
Exactly.
They're abused like this.
They're abused. It's a feminism issue more than just animal rights issue as well. तो ये जब मैंने चीज़ें देखी, आई कुडंट नो लॉन्गर एसोसिएट विद यू नो दैट. प्लस उस फॉरेनर ने मुझे ये भी बोला था कि मिल्क अनहेल्दी होता है. तो आर्ग्यूमेंट की शुरुआत हेल्थ से हुई थी. तो और मैंने कहा था मैं तुझे प्रूव करूँगा अनहेल्दी होता है. एंड द मोर रिसर्च आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग ऑन हेल्थ, आई रियलाइज कि जितना ज़्यादा लीफी ग्रीन्स, बीन्स, होल ग्रेन्स, फ्रूट्स, बेरीज, नट्स एंड सीड्स, हर्ब्स एंड स्पाइसेस होगा उतना हेल्दी होगा. जितना कम डेयरी होगा, जितना कम ऑयल होगा, जितना कम शुगर होगा, उतना ही हेल्दी होंगे. तो फिर डेयरी की तो ज़रूरत ही नहीं रही. तो माई जर्नी स्टार्टेड विद द इंटेंशन ऑफ ट्राइंग टू प्रूव दैट फॉरेनर रॉन्ग, बट आई ended up proving him right.
It was meant to end up like this for you.
हाँ.
No, don't you think it was meant to, you know, to bring you here? कुछ ऐसे रचा हो किसी ने खेल के आपको यहाँ तक पहुँचाएंगे.
हो सकता है. हाँ. एंड एवरीवन वाज लाइक ये तो शॉर्ट टर्म है, कोई फैड में पड़ा हुआ है. एंड नाउ आई फील लाइक देयर इज नो गोइंग बैक. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी, यू नो, एंड प्राउड टू बी वीगन. बट वीगन आई सी एज अ वेरी लिमिटेड, you know, word, because it's only to do with animal rights. You can be eating French fries, drinking Coca-Cola and still be calling yourself vegan. But then you're not necessarily compassionate to your own self. A diet that is truly healthy for you is naturally healthy for the animals and is the most sustainable diet for the environment as well. I'd encourage all of your viewers to this beautiful website called climatehealers.org by Dr. Sailesh Rao. Incredible environmentalist. He's a beautiful personality, and he's published so much research, you know, on the international panel of climate change by the United Nations. उनके बारे में उनकी facts को use करके he's published so much work out there that helps us understand that what we eat has the single biggest impact on the environment.
Wonderful, wonderful.
If we are more conscious of where the food is coming from, you know, we're paying more attention. We are more mindful of not just the food we are putting on our plates, but as a result, we're more mindful of the very people we're associating with. I've seen it at a very deep level as I've started eating healthier and healthier and healthier every year. Each year there's a lot of room for even me to eat healthier, believe me. Because as a chef, my job requires me to make very indulgent foods like biryani, shawarma and all of that. सब तरह का खाना बनाना पड़ता है. But there is a lot of scope for me to eat healthier and better. The more healthier, the more nutritionally complete, the more compassionate my food is, I feel I am, being more compassionate towards people around me and to myself.
Do you see a transformation in the level of consciousness? You know, have you become aware that when you eat something animal based or some unhealthy, that your level of consciousness have shifted?
Yeah, because when I'm not mindful of what I'm putting into my body, my digestion is not the healthiest that night, and I see it in my poop story the next day. Like it's
Okay.
it's crazy, the connection. Our poop is very underrated. It can show us a lot of, it is a reflection of how our body is functioning from deep within. If we have, sticky stool or floaty stool or bumpy or like, we call it rabbit's
Can I
stool.
ask how a healthy poops look like?
Okay, so for that you have to refer to something we commonly use in nutrition called Bristol stool chart. So it's very easy to find. Just Google Bristol stool chart and you will see that there are 7 types of stool. Type 1 and 2 are the constipation types.
Okay.
So the first one is the rabbit stool, where like a rabbit or a goat you see tiny, these balls of stool, which can be a sign of chronic constipation. And the person who's usually passing this type of stool is experiencing a lot of discomfort while, evacuating their the food waste, the stool. The second type of stool is also very uncomfortable for the person to pass, but not as much. It's called grapes.
Grapes?
Grapes. So if it's similar to bakri ki mingne, if it's similar to that, those little balls, but it's all stuck together like a bunch of grapes, then it's slightly better, but still not so healthy. Type 5 and 6 and 7 are the other extreme. Type 6 is called, if I'm not wrong, it's called gravy. It's very watery.
Okay.
It doesn't have any structure. It's too loose. And type 7 is even looser. It's like
Okay.
water coming out of your gut. So this is the diarrhea type. So first 2 are constipation, last 2 are diarrhea. The type 3, 4 and 5 are the healthy stool types. Type 3 is slightly larger lumps. Type 4 is a proper sausage, and type 5 is a L-shaped stool. Type 3, 4 or 5,
Okay.
it's considered to be healthy stool.
Okay. When you change your plate or your food or you eat something unhealthy, does it affect your level of meditation or the depth in your meditation practice?
Absolutely, because when you're eating heavy meals and you're like too full and you've eaten something very greasy or any of these, you feel a sense of sluggishness mentally, and you see that you're not able to really find that grounding that you need when you're meditating. Because personally I'm a Vipassana practitioner, so I've done Vipassana meditation. I absolutely love the technique of just observing the different sensations that are coming to your brain. But I'm not able to advance so much when I have a tummy too full. So it's very directly connected, and that's why I really like the food that they serve at Vipassana usually, which is very light, very wholesome meals that keep you focused. And when you were at the Vipassana retreat, have you attended one of them?
Yeah.
You're eating only 2 meals a day,
Yeah.
breakfast and lunch. So
We eat lunch at 11.
Done.
Then there's no lunch,
there's
no food.
lunch, exactly.
And you don't get hungry. You don't
Don't
feel
get
hungry
hungry.
whole of the day. Hai na?
Exactly. It's definitely a mental block, and
Yeah.
maybe there are fears coming in. That's why so many people leave the center
Yeah.
and are not able to complete the 10 days. But I would say it's a lot to do with their conditioning, and they might not be mentally ready for such a commitment. But if you just give in to
It's
the
a lot of
process and
commitment,
surrender to
actually.
the process,
Yeah.
you really feel balanced blood sugars. Mealtime rhythm makes a very big difference. If you're eating around the same time every day, different unique food groups that are nutritionally complete, you will see so much progress in your meditation. It's very easy to notice.
They offer a lot of chai, tea.
True.
है ना? So yeah, I used to have a lot of tea there because कुछ एक comfort मिलता था चाय से ना. Yeah, but I think when you go next time, they won't offer the tea in the evening. Then they will offer you नींबू पानी or something. So then they,
Okay.
क्योंकि चाय के इंडियंस हम लोग इतने अडिक्ट है ना, सो वो चाय शायद वो एक कंफर्ट देती है वहाँ पे भी कि
It's very interesting to see how chai and like an average Indian is so addicted to their
Yeah.
chai, but it's really affecting our metabolism negatively.
yeah.
What happens when we're eating animal foods? It's
Mm.
not just that we are choosing to kill a being, an innocent being, or take use of something that they didn't want to give us. Let's say a mother is making milk for her baby. When we are having milk, we're stealing it. So it's definitely not ethical, but it's beyond that. I'll tell you why. Because nutritionally speaking, the saturated fat content and cholesterol content is very high in animal foods. So when you're drinking your chai, when you're having paneer, when you're having eggs, you're also consuming some of the very unhealthy components like saturated fat and cholesterol. And it is now scientifically proven. It's now scientifically proven that when you eat food that is high in saturated fat, your microbiome produces very toxic compounds like TMAOs, trimethylene N-oxides, which will eventually lead to clogging of arteries. We did not know, back then.
इवन डॉक्टर स्टिल रिकमेंड एग्स को तो बहुत अच्छा प्रोटीन सोर्स बताया जाता है एंड पीपल आर एनीवे लाइक कंज्यूमिंग एग्स लाइक एनीथिंग. तो प्रोटीन सोर्सेस की बात करते हैं. प्लांट बेस्ड लाइफस्टाइल में जो सबसे बड़ा डिबेट है वो यही है कि प्रोटीन फुलफिल नहीं होता. व्हाट वुड यू से टू दोज स्केप्टिक्स?
देखो, बहुत ही अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. अगर आपको लगता है प्रोटीन नहीं कंप्लीट होता, और मैं प्रोटीन का जवाब देने के लिए रेडी हूँ. I will answer that. But before that, as a nutritionist, I can also ask you, okay, you're asking me about protein and calcium. I can ask you about magnesium. I can ask you, okay, about zinc. See, every time a man ejaculates, they are losing about 3 mg zinc in their semen, which is found in 30 grams of pumpkin seeds. So, are you eating enough pumpkin seeds? You're using magnesium to restore the gut lining. You are using vitamins, minerals, isoflavones, phytonutrients, polyphenols, antioxidants. Every one of the 60 minerals I can ask, where are you getting enough of that? My counter question will be like, why is protein the only question? Why isn't every nutrient of equal concern? Because we know we should not be deficient in magnesium, we shouldn't be deficient in potassium, we shouldn't be deficient in zinc.
Indeed.
So my argument here is we should have a holistic approach where we are not isolating only the protein. Instead, we are looking at each and every nutrient, including protein and calcium, in an unbiased way. Now, the balance of scientific evidence suggests that as long as a person, be it vegetarian or non-vegetarian or omnivore, as long as they're eating enough calories, they get enough protein. 97% of human beings are, meet their protein intake, whereas 80% of Indians do not get enough fiber. Maybe the real question should be fiber and not protein. We are focusing literally on the wrong nutrient, because if 97% if there is protein deficiency only in 3 or 4% of the population, and 80% of the population is deficient in fiber, why is the world crazy about protein, I wonder? And not fiber. The whole discussion should be about fiber. Anyways, when it comes to plant like sources of protein, egg is not a healthy source of protein because it comes with toxins like saturated fat and cholesterol, and it has zero fiber. Zero fiber. And I hope this podcast has helped you understand that fiber is absolutely crucial
important,
for a healthy gut.
Definitely.
So, because it doesn't have any fiber and because it has cholesterol and saturated fat, in fact, it is the single largest source of cholesterol in an average Indian diet. it's not an ideal source of protein. An ideal source of protein happens to be, all ideal sources of protein happen to be plant-based. We make a moong dal dosa, we call it pesarottu. One of them has 13.5 grams protein. 3 of those is about 40 plus grams of protein. That's a very concentrated source of protein. So I would say dals are the number one and the best sources of protein. So even if you're eating cooked dal, let's say just one bowl of dal will be 15 to 20 grams of protein. You're eating 2 of those, 3 of those, you're getting a very good chunk. Secondly, whole grains. See, white rice has very low protein. In my restaurant at Bodhi Greens, we use Manipuri chakhao rice, which has 5 to 6 times more protein.
Manipuri chakhao
Chakhao.
rice. It's red rice.
It's a black rice variety that makes our dosas purple in color.
Okay.
And it's a very delicious variety. Comes all the way from Manipur. And it has 5 to 6 times more protein and almost 12 times more fiber than white rice. So it's not that white rice is unhealthy. It's just that every time we're choosing to eat white rice, we're choosing not to eat quinoa, millets, buckwheat and all the other whole grains that are out there. And when we're eating whole grains, let's say when we're eating ragi or like kodo millet, we're not only getting higher protein, but the overall micronutrient profile like increases. So whole grains also add a bit there. Thirdly, as I gave you the example of spinach, 100 grams of spinach has only about 29-30 calories.
Okay.
So 100 grams of spinach has only this much calories, 30 calories. So if you're boiling 300 grams of spinach, you know after boiling, spinach reduces so much. It only remains this much. So one bowl of cooked spinach, which is 300 grams cooked into 100 grams of spinach gravy, let's say, or boiled spinach, like a Japanese spinach salad with toasted sesame seeds and some, sake, like nice rice vinegar. It will give you about 100 grams of cooked spinach will give you about 10 grams of protein. So because like calorically it has very high protein. We think of chicken and eggs as a good source of protein, but unfortunately they're not really good source of protein. They're very unhealthy sources of fat because they're very high in fat. And after this discussion, I hope we have, come to this understanding that fat, salt, oil and sugar, like fat, the O in between is pretty much just empty calories. It's not doing body any good. And it's instead just causing more and more inflammation. I mean, we do need fat. And that's why in the lunch plate, we had that little circle for nuts and seeds. In fact, when we're eating, let's say, compare sesame to sesame oil. Sesame has, for every 100 grams of sesame, you're getting about 48% fat. Okay. So it's still very high in fat. But the rest of it is 18 grams protein. There are some carbohydrates and at least 12 grams of fiber. Whereas in sesame oil, it's pure fat. There is 0 protein. There is 0 fiber. So when you're eating your nuts and seeds whole, you are not just getting extra fiber, you're really getting more protein as well. Because sesame has got 18 grams of protein for every 100 grams. Same with other nuts and seeds. Look at pumpkin seeds, sesame, sunflower, flaxseed, peanut. They're all very high in protein. So having a handful or 2 handfuls of whole nuts and seeds, be it in the form of powder like kaju katli, or be it in the form of paste like almond butter, peanut butter, it really adds up to your total protein intake. So vegetables, they add up to your protein intake. So do nuts and seeds and so do whole grains. But the real superstar of plant-based protein is actually cooked dal. But when you're not eating dal, you're not just not getting the protein from the whole source, you're also not getting the fiber, the resistant starch and the micronutrients that come attached to the dal, that are found only in the whole dals. So my recommendation is to first think of how you can diversify your protein intake by increasing the variety of whole plant foods and focus on protein from nuts and seeds and cooked vegetables and beans to begin, beans, peas and lentils, like dals to begin with. And then if you feel like you need more protein and you want to go, one step ahead, then you can take a scoop or two of plant-based protein as well.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I think we have got a lot of information, a whole lot of information. So, a final message for someone who wants to make a shift from animal-based lifestyle to plant-based lifestyle. उनको कुछ message, कुछ motivation.
So if you do it right now, immediately it's going to be the best for you. But even if you're taking it slow, there is no rush. You can take it as slow as you want. So think of it like we are told that, by the time we're in our 40s and 50s, we're already getting old. But I can guarantee you that as we grow older, we only grow stronger. And I can, there is a hike from Bodhi Greens to a place called Triund. It's very popular and a lot of tourists come and go to Triund. So locals, like me, we go running to Triund and then come down. So earlier it used to take me 1 hour, 2 years ago, it used to take me 1 hour 11 minutes to climb, to run to Triund from my restaurant. And last year it took me 55 minutes. So my performance got improved so much.
Energy levels have increased.
Exactly. And I can guarantee that 5 years later, I'll probably have broken that record as well. So as I'm growing older, I'm only going to grow stronger. So in my 40s, I'll be healthier than I am today. And in my 50s, I'll be healthier than I've ever been.
Oh.
So it's just a notion that has been put into our brain. And now with the science, the evidence that we have on anti-aging, on how to age better or maybe how not to age. We know that what we're eating and how much we're exercising, how good our sleep is and how our stress levels are, if they're all balanced. If we're, if we have a holistic approach to a healthy diet and lifestyle, there is an abundance of health.
It's like aging gracefully.
Exactly. So there is no rush for you to immediately quit all your favorite foods like cheese, paneer. Take your time. Take your time to slowly reduce them and don't think that you're reducing them so much as you want to think about how to increase of things that are actually good for you, like increase more dal, increase more of the fruits and berries and whole grains slowly, and you'll see a big difference in your health. Exactly. और 100% नहीं होना vegan
चाय पी सकते हैं
कभी कभी पी लो लेकिन देखो if you're every day drinking chai, maybe it's not that you're drinking chai and that's the problem. The real problem is you're not drinking, let's say, rose tea or herbal tea or hibiscus tea or matcha tea.
Missing on the good part.
Exactly. So by bringing more diversity, by bringing more color, you're guaranteeing yourself health and abundance of health.
Wonderful. Okay. So one last question. I wanted to ask about Varun's favorite milk. You discarded oat milk.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have almond milk, coconut milk, or cashew milk.
My favorite is almond milk.
Okay.
And my recipe for almond milk is very simple. The almond butter I got for you.
Yeah.
I put first I put water in a blender. So let's say if I have to froth one cappuccino. So I'll put 200 ml water in my blender. Then I'll add 1 tablespoon, that's about 15 grams of almond butter. So just 1 spoonful of almond butter. Remember to shake your jar. So just stir properly and then take the almond butter scoop from the bottom so you get more of the fiber part. Anyways, once you put a tablespoon of almond butter to the water, blend it for 10 seconds and it's ready. That almond milk I use in my coffee machine to froth like a nice cappuccino.
Okay.
It's so delicious. So you don't really have to strain, soak almonds and strain and do all the hard work. Just make it with almond butter and it's super simple. It's so delicious. We make hot cacao. We froth all of our coffee. Sometimes we make a matcha latte.
Almond milk. जैसे coconut milk को गरम नहीं कर सकते.
हाँ, almond को कर सकते हैं.
Almond को कर सकते हैं.
This milk recipe specifically.
Okay. And why not coconut milk?
Well, it's a gastronomical reason, which means it's to do with food science. It has very high concentration of saturated fat. Coconut milk is not the recommended go-to fat because of its high saturated fat content. When you're eating the whole coconut with the fiber in it, see, coconut is a very high fiber food. It has 8 grams of fiber for every 100 gram. When you're eating the whole coconut, it's supposed to be very good for you in moderation. But when you remove the fiber and you're only having the milk or the oil, then there is no fiber. So there is a higher concentration of saturated fat. Plus, because it's very low in protein compared to almond or soya milk, when you are frothing it or when you're heating it, the fat starts to separate. I mean, if you didn't know this, you know how coconut oil is made? It's made by boiling coconut milk. If you take coconut milk and boil it for long enough, it will become coconut oil.
But it has been said कि coconut milk को तो boil करना ही नहीं चाहिए.
क्योंकि फिर coconut oil बन जाता है.
अच्छा.
Precisely because coconut oil is made by boiling coconut milk. If you take a coconut, blend it with some water in a blender jar, strain it, and then boil the milk.
Achha.
30 minutes later, it will boil down and you'll have coconut oil. When you make it with the almond butter, it has the whole almond in it. You haven't strained anything out. So it's very wholesome and healthy. Another alternative that I highly recommend is actually soya milk made from soya milk powder. So you can simply buy, there are many companies like MK and Urban Platter. They provide you with soya milk powder. So at the restaurant, we make soya milk using soya milk powder, and it costs us 37 rupees a liter. Even if you buy it from Amazon, it will cost you less than 50 rupees a liter to make soya milk. So it's very affordable and
so
nutritionally.
That ends the debate for the almonds are expensive. For the people who are saying almonds are expensive.
Exactly. Also, it's so convenient. Just mix milk with water. Make dahi, make tofu, paneer, make chhena and make rasgulla if you want. You can do. It's very diverse, and we make dahi using the same recipe. We get the soya milk powder from Urban Platter in bulk. And we, let's say, blend for every 80 grams of soya milk powder, we put 1 liter water. That gives us about 1080 ml of soya milk. We boil it. The longer you boil it, the thicker the milk will be. We let it cool down a bit and just add the starter, 1 tablespoon of the old dahi. And you have dahi after 8 hours. And when you add chaat masala, jeera powder, or some saunf or some dill leaves,
feels like raita.
Yeah, it has no flavor of soya anymore.
Okay.
So it feels just like regular dahi.
Amazing. Okay, so let's close it up. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And we have received a lot of pearls of wisdom from you. And I wish we had more time. But I'm grateful that you are here. And I'm grateful that we got a connection. We got the college connection as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Tamanna. It was a pleasure being here.